what's going on, guys? It's Adam here from MAJcubing, back with our very first Solvecast. I'm joined by our other two owners, Jake and Luke. Say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So, we have got a big lineup for you guys, but before that, if you have any questions for us, we will answer them. Just drop them in the live chat over there. So, our first topic of discussion is what it is like being a new cuber and innovations in the cubing world. So, would any of you guys like to start that off?
Yeah, absolutely. I think being a cuber today is so much different to what it was a little bit a while ago, however long people have been seriously speed cubing for. And I think these days with the new cubes and everything that we've got, I think it's just so much more advanced and it's so much easier to get into it now.
Yeah,
Because there's so much range.
Yeah,
definitely.
there's just so many different cubes, whether you want to spend like lots of money on cubing or just like even a few pounds, it doesn't really matter, you can get a cube.
Yeah, most definitely. There's loads of different cubing companies, and I think that's the best part about it, because they're all competing, and they're all competing. And while that might not be good for GAN, who's might be outdone by another company in the future or now, but that's good for us cubers, because that means other companies have to step their game up.
Yeah.
And I don't think a cuber is as easy as it used to be. I think that this is like these days, because at the moment you've got new cubes coming in. Obviously, competitions would be going on right now, and being a new cuber, there could be a lot to overwhelm you. But now
and especially at this time, there's like so much customization for new cubes, like especially GAN cubes.
Volk,
you can just
Elite.
and Volk. You can just change your tensions, change your caps,
change for
you
magnet
can even
strength.
Get robots. It's just there's so much that you can do.
And Matt Wardle said, do you think cubing hardware has peaked yet? And we will come on to that later, because that is pretty much the end game of this topic of discussion. So I want to stay on the topic of innovation. New innovations that we have seen, the GAN elasticity system with GES tensioning that they have.
Yeah,
that is really good.
It's just so easy to do. Like in some of the budget cubes or older cubes, you have to use a screwdriver and you have to like try and get it just right. But with the GES system, it just goes right into place and it's super easy. It takes about 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. It's just so quick.
Yeah, so it's really quick to change GAN tensioning. It's pretty quick to change. It's actually quite a lot slower to change the Volk Elite's tensioning. You have to unscrew it. You might have seen it in my review, but you wouldn't expect to see that on a 2019 flagship.
No,
exactly.
Yeah,
I just think that with innovation, there's got to be more, because GAN has always, every cube has got something new to it, whether that's just changing the core or changing the tensions or however it is. They've always found a way to make stuff better, and that's the way cubing works these days. Is no matter what cube you have, if you think it's the best, it can always get better.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Every cube can always get better, whether that's small intricate details like adding some or removing some grooves on a piece, like an edge piece or a corner piece, or whether it's something more important like the Volk Elite's new magnet system, changing the magnet tensions.
Yeah. Like just something as simple as magnets. Like some people don't even notice a difference, but again, some people they see it as such a big thing, and they just make it so easy to change out and replace.
Yeah, I definitely see magnets as a really, really must-have for me as a cuber. I like really strong magnets.
I think magnets are more than just helping turning. They can often add weight to a cube, and some people like that, some people don't. And I think getting good magnet strength is what can separate the good from the great.
Yeah, Some people, T-Perm has asked what are your mains. We were actually planning on mentioning those later on in the video, so if you don't mind, we will move on to that question later on. But back to innovation, there is... Someone asked for CFOP tips. I'm not sure if... I personally don't use CFOP. I'm not sure if Luke or Jake does.
Yeah, I do, and I think Jake might. Like, which part of CFOP? Because, again, there's, like, 4 sections.
And Matt Wardle said the GAN XS has magnets, but it is extremely light. While if they're extremely light, maybe GAN could make a cube where the magnets can be light or strong, depending on your preference.
Yeah, I think there are some cubes like that, where they have light magnets, or you can use heavier magnets.
Definitely.
Because everyone just has a different preference.
Yeah.
Adam, you go.
Yeah, everyone has a preference on magnets. I personally like really strong magnets, whereas Luke or Jake, what are your preferences?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Jake, you can go first.
I'd just say medium magnets. I don't like my turns to be too heavy or too like clicking into place, because I like a bit of freedom with my turns.
Yeah, same. I'd say medium, because if it's too light, you probably won't even notice the difference. But again, if it's too strong, then sometimes it can just slow you down. Like, you have to turn harder.
Yeah, quite a lot of people don't like strong magnets because the turns feel too blocky and too chunky.
I think a few people have said that with Volt cubes, that they feel quite blocky. I don't know if it's because of magnets or something, but...
Yeah. That is pretty much the reason people don't like the Volt cubes, because they feel blocky, and I have used the Volk, and it is my main. The Volk Elite is my main. I know I said I'd move on to mains later, but I might as well mention it since I'm talking about it. And I love the cube, but I love blocky cubes. So the issue with that is most people, well, I say most cubers, but everyone's different. Some cubers don't like blocky cubes, and so they'd rather use less blocky cubes.
Yeah.
I often get asked by non-cubers, like, what's the point in all these new innovations? And I think it's just to cater for every cube. Because if people don't like magnets, they can have non-magnetic cubes. If people don't like tight tensions, they can loosen it. And I think that's the main reason for innovations, not necessarily to improve people's times, but just so people can feel comfortable with the cubes they're using.
Yeah.
Before we continue with innovation, Ash the Cuber said, what are all of your PB singles? Mine is 35.03 seconds.
Mine's 23.
Mine's 27 for 3x3.
If you couldn't catch that, Jake said his is 27 for 3x3. And Luke, what was yours again?
23.9.
23 point. That's pretty impressive, to be fair. So those are our singles. Obviously, being a new keeper in this world, there's so many companies, and people often ask, which one should I buy? Like, a lot of my friends, when they first got into cubing, asked me. In fact, I asked Jake, because he was the one who got me into cubing, what cube should I buy? And I'm pretty sure it always continues. What cube should I buy?
Yeah, like most new cubers, they just automatically default to Rubik's brand.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's kind of like the Apple thing. Like, Apple is just original. I don't know, just people like Apple. And just if you're especially new and don't know specs about anything, then most people will just default to Rubik's.
Maybe we shouldn't bring up the whole Apple versus Android debate. However,
yeah,
it is definitely something worth noting that not Apple, Rubik's brand is something non-cubers typically default to because it is the known brand.
Yeah, they've just been going on for so many years.
Yeah, most definitely.
And started it all.
And they were the one who kick-started it with the original Rubik's Cube. However, we don't call them that now. We call them 3x3s.
Yeah.
I think with 3x3 innovation, magnetic center caps, my favourite innovation recently. I know people have done it themselves. However, Chi has kind of modernised and pushed out a cube for the mass market with magnetic center caps for Volk Elite.
Mm. And I think the way Chi has done that is really, really good because they've not put it so you have to have it.
Yeah.
You can obviously have it if you're used to just normal magnets, which I think is a pretty smart marketing move by, catering to all cubers.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I'd say that innovation in other cubes, like Pyraminx, obviously you can have like the X-Man Bell, which is people say one of the best Pyraminxes on the market, and that's because it's got super, super strong magnets, and for Pyraminx that's really good because you can't obviously turn in other directions, so having really strong magnets helps a lot of people when they're solving, and
especially in Pyraminx, you like need all the layers to lock in place because
you do.
Some cubes they don't really have good corner cutting or any.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I think innovation in 2x2s has peaked. I don't think it can really go much further. You can't have magnetic center caps because they don't have center caps. I think it's just gotten to a natural stopping point, which 3x3 will hit eventually, but I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah, I think there's still some more to go at, like the best magnets, and again, more customization, more elasticity. I mean, you can always go more, but it's just when to stop.
Yeah, speaking of, well, it's not just when to stop. I think you can't do much more on the 2x2 without slugging it down. However, you mentioned elasticity. There is one company I would love to applaud, and it's MOU for their elasticity system in the GTS3M.
Yeah, I've got that cube, and to answer someone's earlier question, that's my 3x3 main. I've had it for a little while, and I did the review on it, if you've seen that. And that system for me was just such a change because it was my first magnetic 3x3. It was my first really good 3x3. And I just think that having that easy system was just such like a shock for me because I thought more innovation, more complex, but a lot of cubes now you can have more innovation and it'd be less complex.
It depends on the company. Some GES systems, most notably began in the 354M, actually had me really confused. Because when you look at it from the surface, it just looks a bit confusing. So that was a bit weird on the surface of it. However, with Volk Elite, while it is outdated, it is pretty easy to look at and easy to tell what you need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is very prevalent in the 356XS and the MOU GTS 3M.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
Should we move on?
Yeah, we should. So, I want to talk about, basically, I still want to come back to the whole topic of what it is like being a new cuber. But before we go back to that, let's talk about our main cubes.
Okay.
It is briefly mentioned on our website, MAJcubing.com, if you haven't seen that. However, Jake, would you like to start talking about mains?
Luke, you go first.
Okay, so at the moment I main the GAN 354M. I think it's a really good cube. It's got magnets, but you can't actually change the magnets and the strength, although you can in the XS. And you can change the tensions. I think that's really good. And it's just got all-round good corner cutting.
Yeah. Jake, would you like to go?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I'm in the Waylong GTS 3M from MOU, and that cube generally for me is really good. It's got a few innovations with the ridges and the spring compression system, as we mentioned before, and I think that all around it's a good cube for its price range. So yeah.
Yeah, and you obviously have a lot of other cubes, but before we get onto them, I'd like to speak about my 3x3, and then we'll talk about each other's events. So, I main the GE Volk 3 Elite M 3x3. It is really good. They do have quite some innovations, such as their magnetic center caps, and it is a pretty good cube from GE. It's one of their latest flagships, with one of their oldest ones being released in 2017 with the previous one, and it is really good.
Yeah. Do you find it to be quite blocky? Is there any corner cutting?
There is corner cutting, but it depends on the tensions that you have.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got so much customization that it does tend to be quite blocky. And what I can compare its tensioning system to is the old GAN system, where you'd unscrew the screw, put the spring in, and screw it back up. That's how I compare it. Also, the center caps are really, really hard to pry off. But yeah.
Yeah.
The cube is actually pretty quiet, but the corner cutting is pretty good. I've got it on its tightest tensioning setting and strongest magnet, so it is very blocky for me. However, even when you're moving away from trying to get as far away from the blockiness as possible, it does feel a little blocky and chunky at times. But the corner cutting is pretty good. It isn't as good as some companies such as GAN or even MAJcubing, but it is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just depends on your turning style.
Okay, should we talk
exactly.
about what we main in other
Yes,
events?
definitely. Jake, you are the king of events. You have a ridiculous amount of different event cubes. Same for you, whereas I'm pretty basic so far. Would you like to...
Yeah. I think Luke's probably got more going on than I do at the moment, but we're both coming to an equal amount. So I do Scube and 2x2 as well. For Scube, I main the Cyclone Boys Magnetic Scube, which is one of the best on the market. And then for 2x2, I main the YJ Yupo M, which is pretty good. YJ's budget line of magnetic N-by-N events. And yeah, so they're most of the events I do, but I'm going to do more soon.
Yeah, well, Jake, we know... Well, people might not know this, but I know that your Scube is your main event, and you are pretty good at it. Would you like to tell us more about the Cyclone Boys?
Yeah, so the Cyclone Boys cube is Cyclone Boys' first real success with cubes. I think that it's got good colours, it's got good magnet strength. I have it on a really loose setting, so I do experience a few pops, but that's not really something that is too bad for me, because I find Scube actually quite fun to put back together. So I do that quite a lot anyway. But other than that, it's a good cube in general, and it's got primary internals, and it's just really good.
Yeah, before I hand the mic over to Luke, I would like to... Matt Wardle said, can you change the magnets on the edges of the Volk? And you can't change the magnets inside of the edges, however you can change their attraction to the centerpiece, the center caps, by changing what center caps you have, red being the strongest, green being no magnets inside of the center caps. And also Benjamin said, what I would like to see is a cube with only magnets in the center to edge pieces. I don't think that would be a brilliant cube, not going to lie. It would be kind of interesting though. Maybe if we get a cube with more customization, that might be a possibility.
Yeah, you can choose where your magnets go.
Oh, that would be
pretty cool.
That would be brilliant. So, Luke, would you like to tell us about your other mains, since you have quite a few different cubes?
Okay, so I do 3x3, 2x2, 4x4 Pyraminx and Megaminx. And for my 3x3 again, I main the GAN 354M. With that, I do experience quite a few pops. I think it's because of the loose setting I'm on. But it's got really nice colours and it's very bright. For my 2x2, I don't actually know what brand it is. My mum just got it for me. And it's got like okay corner cutting, but it's not the best. and it's quite tight, but yeah, it does the job kind of. And my 4x4 is a V cube. I'm getting a new one soon, so don't be too harsh on that. And yeah, V cube, I don't really like it that much.
V-Cube.
Sometimes my centers twist and like these weird bits come
I'm
out.
not
not
a big
best.
fan of V-Cube.
Like-
I would like to say there has been a bit of a resurgence in cubing recently. Well, I've noticed it from across my school and other schools.
Yeah.
There's been a large resurgence of cubing coming from people.
Yeah, lots more
Yeah.
people are actually getting into cubing. Just because there's more variety and more things you can do, and I think just more of an interest in people.
Yeah, well, it is quite an interesting topic, but like you wouldn't typically find this, but I walked into The Works, which is a kind of like a department and bookshop for anyone who doesn't live in the UK, and I found like it's really bad. It's a £2 cube, which is about the equivalent to $3, I think. But it's cushioned and it turns quite slowly and sluggishly, and I might do a video on that just for the meme. But yeah, and it's currently in pieces right now because I thought I'd take it apart, and I'm struggling to put it back together because it's just so bad.
Yeah.
Luke, continue telling us about all your mains and stuff.
For Pyraminx, I think it's a Shengshao, and it's got ball bearings. It's not really the best because sometimes the ball bearings don't really work, but it's okay. Yeah, and my Mega Minx is stickered, and again, I don't know what brand this one actually is.
Isn't it a bit of a pain to wouldn't it be a bit of a pain to re-sticker it?
Yeah, probably.
Oh no.
But I just try not to peel the stickers off.
Yeah, that's try your hardest.
Probably a good idea.
But yeah. Right. So we've talked about what our mains are. So let's talk about our favourite event. Jake, I want to hand that to you, of course.
My favourite event by far is definitely Scube. I've not been doing it for that long, but it's pretty much all I do, and it's how I'm getting through lockdown. So yeah, it's just the best.
Ah, right. Well, that is pretty good. I am getting through lockdown by practicing 3x3, which is my favourite event. Call me quite traditional, but I don't know. I prefer 3x3. It's the one I originally practiced, and it's the one I practice the most still. Anyway.
Yeah, same with me. My main event is 3x3, but I am getting into like 4x4 and 2x2. I'm gonna get a new 2x2, so hopefully I should be able to do better.
That does sound very interesting.
Yes.
So, we've talked about our favourite events. So someone on our Instagram asked Jake for Scube tips. Jake, would you like to
Yeah, I'll take the mic there. I'd say for Scube, the main thing to get fast, like sub 7, as I think the person asked, is you've got to get your regrips to a minimum, and you've got to be able to have your hands in a position that can do sledge and hedge slammer fast and together, so you don't have to keep flipping your cube, because I think the temptation with Scube is to keep rotating, but it takes a long time to rotate, and even if you can plan the next algorithm, you've always got to try and keep your rotations down. Also, just your method, because the method I use isn't that fast, but I'm learning Sarah's intermediate method, which is like a pretty all-round good method. And after that, I'm going to try my hardest to learn Sarah's advanced, but there are like nearly 200 algorithms in that, and it's just really But yeah, that's all my tips.
Well, thank you, Jake, for your tips. G-Perm says hello, so hello G-Perm, welcome to the stream. I hope you are enjoying Solvecast. I don't know where you picked up from, but if you need to, you can always rewind and go back and listen to the rest. So, getting back into it, there is still a lot to discuss with innovations and what it's like to be a new cuber, and I always end up circling back to that one because I feel like it's so hard to grasp and talk about effectively because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Obviously, primary internals, that is somewhat new-ish. It's kind of old. However,
Yeah.
I like the look of primary internals.
Yeah.
Most definitely, I know.
I think it's just something new and something a bit different, and whether you like it or not, it's a part of most cubes now. And I don't think it necessarily takes away from if you've got a stickered cubes and you've got black plastic. I don't think it takes away from the overall effect.
Yeah.
But I think on stickless cubes, it does look pretty good.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about a couple specific cubes that have caught my eye recently, and I really like. So the more I think about it, the more intrigued I get with the Moyu Weilong GTS 3M. And I know there are some issues with tensioning that Jake's mentioned in his review. However, I don't know. I love the tensioning system in the GTS 3M. The magnets are decently strong, so I can use them, considering I like snappy magnets. And the plastic and the ridges absolutely look amazing. And I know the ridges actually don't provide much grip, but I do like the look of them.
Yeah. Some people just like them, again, other people don't.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. You either love them or you hate them.
That is pretty much it. With the MGC Elite, I love the logo that is imprinted on it. I know that is really nitpicky, but I really like the logo that is imprinted on it. And also, I want to talk about what I believe could be the future of cubing. Obviously, you can't use it in competitions for a very specific reason of it is a little bit, and I put this in air quotes, cheaty. Well, actually, I don't put that in air quotes. It's very cheaty. It's smart cubes, Bluetooth cubes. Which,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
if that's necessarily a good thing. I mean, it's just overkill, I think. Just why would you need to look at your cube on your phone when you can just see it, or like use it on a robot?
Yeah, in a certain sense, it is sort of an innovation, but then again, it's sort of just a way for people to be able to grasp what they're doing and maybe learn algorithms a bit faster and better. But for some reason, I just don't like the idea of Bluetooth cubes. Although there is many on the market at the moment, I just don't think they're that amazing.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot more amazing if when you can scramble it yourself, you don't have to look at WCA Scramble, and then when you solve it and your phone is still in your pocket, it beams the time to your phone. That way you can queue in places where you might not be allowed your phone, such as around school at lunch times, and then but your solve times are still saved. Then you can check back through them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That is what I hope to see in 3x3 at least.
Yeah, that would actually be really cool.
Most definitely. There is,
because then no matter how you are, you'd always be solving and timing yourself, so you'd have a lot more grasp of how you're improving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can always see what you could do better.
Yeah.
And it could also potentially show a replay of what you are doing.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool as well, because then, again, you can see where you slowed on, what you're doing good at. I think that would be quite helpful.
Matt Wardle said Bluetooth cubes are good for drilling PLLs and OLLs to get faster. Yes, they are. However, I wouldn't personally invest in one until they could save you time so that you can look at them. my most crazy cubing like gadget that I've seen is a little timer that's on a corner piece of the cube. That that would
Yeah.
be that would be very ridiculous. However,
Yeah.
it would be quite good and funny to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we have talked about innovations. What is it like to be a new cuber? Well, that is a brilliant question. I got into cubing in January of 2020, and I'm definitely locked in for life. I've invested more than enough in cubes, and I've even started my own cubing channel. With,
Yeah.
with you
Yeah.
two, and I really love cubing. But my first cube was the usual little magic, so immediately off to a good start. Back in cubing 2008, 2011-ish time, you'd have to sand cubes down and polish them. Not many cubing companies existed. Magnetic cubes certainly didn't exist. They came into fruition about 2017-ish time. And
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah,
I think the first main speed cube for a lot of people who were cubing at that time was the Dian Young, but now it's kind of been shunned to the edge of the cubing community. And I'd just like to say that it was, for its time, it was one of the best cubes. And I think looking at that as an example, I think there's so much have already progressed.
yeah, and
Yeah.
what's crazy is that could be the GAN 356 XS in a couple years. The GAN could be the cube no one touches because it's bad compared to 2024 standards or something, or 2027 standards, where cubing has progressed so hard that it's just futile to mess with something that big, and something as good as the cubes in 2028. GAN might still be the biggest cubing company. I know Qi, MAJcubing, and the Volk are three of the biggest, as well as YJ and YJ being off to the side, which they are pretty big, but they're not as widely renowned as GAN, Volk, and MAJcubing.
Yeah.
Maybe YJ could make a comeback. The MGC Elite was a massive step in the right direction, so let's see them pedal that a bit.
Yeah.
I'd say that for generally cubing in today's world, it's more of a unique experience to anybody, what any cubers have had in the past, because especially with all these new innovations, it's become more a social event, and now cubing is so social that it's not got the image of cubing locked inside for hours on end, even though we are.
I mean,
it's very social and it's a great thing.
It's social enough to start a live stream. Speaking of live stream, it's taken us so long to finally be able to get here, and I'm definitely glad this has worked. We love making content for you guys, and I just want to thank all of you for hitting 100 subscribers.
Yeah, we are really thankful.
Yeah.
And we hope we can get our next milestone quickly as well.
Okay. But I want to say, on the topic of 100 subscribers, I want to announce what we will be doing for our 100 subscriber giveaway. But before we do that, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be back with you guys in about 10 minutes. Okay, guys, before we announce the 100 subscriber special, we all want to thank everyone who has subscribed, and we all want to say thank you. We know that cubing is quite niche, and that it means a lot that we have hit 100 subscribers. We hope you will stick by us, because if you enjoy our content as a fraction as much as we do making it, then that would be really cool. So thank you. So now, I'm going to hand it over to Jake, where he can announce for our 100 subscriber special.
Okay, thank you everyone for your patience. For our 100 subscriber special, we are going to do a massive unboxing. We have each ordered plenty of cubes for this unboxing, and we're going to compile it all into a huge video. And we really hope you'll tune in, because it could be our most epic video yet.
Yeah. So, Luke, do you want to talk more about the unboxing?
Okay, and then after we've done the massive unboxing, we're each gonna review each of the cubes we've got.
Yep.
And there's gonna be so many reviews, so much more content. So just keep tuned and be ready.
Yeah. We have a bunch of content in the pipeworks for you guys, and I want to say thank you again. This 100 sub special will be quite a long video. That we will hopefully be releasing sometime next week or the week after, depending on delivery times and Easter bank holiday. So I do want to say thank you for sticking by us, and we hope that you enjoy our 100 sub special, because we will be giving you guys a brilliant unboxing. And obviously, since we can't all be in the same room together right now due to quarantine and lockdown, the videos will be recorded each in our individual rooms, and then I will edit them together to make one awesome video for you guys. So, now that we have announced our 100 subscriber special, I would like to move on to what events should be and should not be World Cube Association in competition. I also don't know why I said what should be World Cube Association. I should just said WCA. Anyway, you guys, handing over to you.
Okay, so some people, I'm just going to be talking about 2x2. So some people have decided that 2x2 is actually too quick, and now some people think it's just too easy and too quick, and just not many people like it anymore. Because there's been PBs set and they're just so low, it's
impossible
crazy
to beat.
Yeah.
I mean, that is true, but you can't take... I personally think you can't take off 2x2, because if you take off 2x2, what's to stop 3x3 getting taken off when solves are around 1 second? And then...
Yeah.
So, yeah, sure, 2x2 is fast, but that's kind of the beauty of the event. And while I don't practice 2x2 because I personally don't like it, I know a lot of people do, and I know that a lot of people love 2x2 as an event, so I don't think they should be disqualified from competing in their favourite event just because some other people don't like it.
Yeah.
I just think that 2x2 is almost too fast to be spectator friendly, and I think not many people, for me anyway, I'm an advocate for it to be removed from the WCA. Ooh. Because I just don't think that many people who practice it can get faster. And I think that for 2x2, somebody to be able to solve it in 0.5 seconds is just too ridiculous to be impressive at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my reasoning.
That is a very good point. 2x2 is definitely not spectator friendly. All that you'll see is a cube on the table and then a cube solved within a matter of about a couple milliseconds. So
yeah,
solving it is pretty quick. So while it isn't spectator friendly, I don't think that should be too much of an issue.
Yeah, I don't think it should be removed, because especially if people do love what they're doing, and if they love 2x2, then it's not fair for them if they get their main removed. Like, say if someone's really good at 4x4, they love it so much, they main it, then it just gets removed all of a sudden. Well, they're not going to really like that. Like,
Yeah.
Jake, what would you do if Scoob was removed?
I would shoot somebody. No.
No. This is a family-friendly podcast, which
No,
is
I wouldn't,
definitely less professional than our other videos, if you cannot tell.
But I think the reason that 2x2 should be removed isn't necessarily to do with all to do with its friendliness for spectators, but I think more to do with the fact that there just isn't any innovations, like we've said, and there isn't any improvement that can really be made.
But the only way someone is going to beat the personal record, the world record, is if they're genuinely a lot better, because the 2x2 record is so high that you're going to have to be phenomenal. Like, I don't know, the bee's knees. So, yeah. And then what events should be added? We've talked about what should be removed. What should be added?
I think higher number N by N events. So like,
I think it should go up to 8x8, maybe.
Yeah, I think it stops at 7x7. I don't know.
Maybe add on 8x8. Not actually. Let's go up to 12x12.
But I think that there is still innovations being made for 10x10 and stuff, and 11x11,
and 4x4. Loads.
Innovations
haven't stopped at 3x3, and they carry on 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, and etc. So they carry on innovating. So I think they should carry on adding on new cubes.
But the thing is, with like 11x11, what can you really do? It's going to be clunky, and if you get a pop, that's just it. It's over. So if people are spending lots of money on those cubes and it just pops, well, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if it should be WCA.
Well, that's why you need innovations.
The only reason I think it should be WCA is that all other non-WCA puzzles, people don't speed solve them. So I think N by N mainly is to do with speed solving, and WCA puzzles should be able to be solved at speed, and stuff like DNA cubes and IVI's cubes, just some random examples that are non-WCA. People don't speed solve them because they're just not as easy to speed solve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm an advocate for making Mouse WC. I'm kidding. I can't even say that with a straight face. Mouse is horrifying. I feel like every time I look at a picture of the mouse, it stares straight at me. However, moving back on to what should be WCA, I'm an advocate for allowing bigger puzzles to be WCA for the same reason of I don't want 2x2 to be removed. Why should we block people using their mains or one of their more favourite events? I know a lot of people wouldn't like bigger cubes, but loads of people do like big cubes as well. So I don't think we should block them from using bigger cubes.
Yeah.
And that kind of contradicts your statement. Like you said, they shouldn't be barred from using their main. However, you want the WCA to not allow bigger cubes, which might be some people's main.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to really be as many people, because most people, you don't really start cubing and then just immediately go to whatever, an 11x11.
You don't, but over time
there's not going to be that many people at that level, I don't think.
I think there's a lot of people at that level, and even if there's not...
But the reason I think... One reason people say it shouldn't be added is that once you get past 10x10, there isn't that many more cases that you can have. There isn't that much more difference. And so it's kind of like you're solving the same cube, but it just takes a little longer. But, I don't know.
Then maybe put the bar at 10x10 instead.
Yeah, but the only problem is, like Jake says, 9x9 is basically 10x10. It just takes longer. So why would you main 10x10 when you can main 9x9 and it's just quicker? True. So I don't really see the point.
That is a very good point, to be fair.
One event that should most definitely be removed, feet. No, thank you.
You know,
3x3
Yeah, to be fair, feet.
Yes. Great. Disgusting.
yeah, I completely agree. Feet should just be removed from the WCA.
Yeah, like, what is the point? Actually, what's the point? How can you main that?
You're just at home with a 3x3, just like putting holes in your feet.
Yeah. Bigger events definitely shouldn't be barred. Anyone who uses their feet to solve a cube,
It's
well,
just odd.
you can do it at home, but don't do it at a competition. In all seriousness, I don't think it should be, because it's not. I don't understand why I don't think it should be, but it's just not like every other.
Natural.
Yeah, every other WCA event uses their hands. So why does 3x3 feet get an exception to not use their hands? If that's the case, then people should be allowed to solve 8x8s and 7x7s. Well, 8x8 is not a WCA event. 7x7s, 6x6s, 5x5s, 4x4s, 2x2s with feet as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that one of the more impressive events that some people would argue that should be removed because it's not very spectator friendly and it doesn't really go with the entire vibe is multi-blinds. But I think that's so impressive to watch. Like, if you could time lapse someone doing multi-blind and if they get all of them, it's so impressive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's things that if you could learn, you'd be just out of this world.
I think the only way multi-blind could be a WCA event is if you have more of the same cube.
Yeah.
So, to make it fair, like, if you use 7 GAN 356 XS, if you have 7 356 XSs, then you can do multi-blind with multiple.
Yeah. Some multi-blinds, people do up to 50 solves, and I think
It's really impressive.
That's just crazy.
49 out of 50 that they've completed, and it's just so crazy.
I know. And I think multi-blind could take off as long as people use the same cube each time. Therefore, it
I don't
doesn't feel different. I think it is.
No, because I think multi-blind already at WCA is good enough, and people don't necessarily need the same cubes because if you know the scramble for a cube and you can feel which cube it is, that might help you. And I don't think that's cheating necessarily, but I think you are right that if you did have all of the same puzzle, it might be a little bit improved, but I don't think you should be forced to buy 10 of the same puzzle.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they could give you 10 of the same puzzle. No.
Maybe you could borrow other people. I don't know.
Yeah, but the issue is that could lead to tampering.
This is just one of those rabbit holes, though.
Yeah.
Everyone has different opinions. Everyone mains different things.
Yeah, well,
It's just confusing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, I want to, again, circle back to what it's like being a new cuber. This is definitely one of my favourite topics of conversation in this. Going to your first comp, that would be... I assume it can be a bit daunting for some people.
Yeah, especially with all those people, and maybe if you're a new cuber, they're going to have better PBs than you. You could feel embarrassed about your times. I don't know, it's just a different experience than doing it at home, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think competitions in general have become a really, really friendly atmosphere, and that is such a relief for cubers because it could be really, really daunting going to a competition for the first time, but because everyone there, the delegates, they're all really nice.
And everyone's actually really nice, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Because most of them just want to increase the cubing community.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
More friends. And people are just there to socialise sometimes, which is weird. Again, people don't see cubing as such a social event.
But it's definitely moving towards the more social side
Yeah.
now with competitions and the way they are. It's definitely a more social event than it used to be, because you see
Yeah.
cubers, you think antisocial hobbits, but no, we're not. We're all nice for the most part, and we all just want to share the cubing community to as many people as we can.
Yeah. And back, I believe, a couple of years ago, the Thunderclap V1 was quite a renowned cube. So I'm looking forward to trying out the Thunderclap V3 when I unbox it. And I am actually really excited for that. That could be a backup main. However, I have heard it doesn't feel like a Thunderclap.
Yeah, I think with cubes that have generations, like the Valk series and all of those, for all of like GAN 356, GAN 354, for any cubes that's had predecessors, there's always a lot of pressure for it to be
better
a
or
much
the same.
Yeah.
And if people like it, especially, you're on very thin ice already by trying to improve it, because a lot of times when you improve something, or try to anyway, you could make it worse, and that's just pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people can move to different companies, and you don't really want that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I actually changed from the GAN. I was originally going to get a GAN 356 XS, but I decided to get a Volk because I didn't really like how much my GAN popped and corner twisted. It did break, but that was due to my own fault. So I moved to the Volk because I love stable cubes, and well, I thought of a stable cube sounded nice, so I got one and I fell in love with it. And I might move away from Chi-Yi eventually, I might not. It depends on what cubes they release and what other cubes they have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, along with that, there has been a lot of changes since the 2008-2011 period.
Yeah.
Where people were sanding down cubes and getting them just speedy enough to perform in competition. Now you can buy a competition-ready cube, such as Volk Elite 356XS, GTS 3M, or any of those widely renowned cubes. I'm just wondering when a new flagship will release. Obviously for Chi-Yi it was last year, but before that it was 2017. So I'm wondering if and GAN released a new flagship last year as well. And MoJu hasn't released one recently, so I'm wondering if MoJu needs to catch up and release a new flagship this year or next year.
Yeah.
I
And then
think MoJu's flagship at the moment is the WRM, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. And even though it's good, I think MoJu's definitely got the most improvements to make.
Yes.
That could be there.
Well, the WRM actually was released last year. I thought the WRM was released a bit further back. However, it does seem to be released last year. So loads of cubing companies released flagships last year. So I'm excited to see what might happen this year or next year for flagships. And I'm hoping we see some serious improvement.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's about time to wrap up Solvecast. So I want to thank everyone who was here to watch and left us notes in the side below, in the live chat down on the side. And I want to thank everyone again for allowing us to hit 100 subscribers. It's really,
we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really nice to know that you guys enjoy our content as much as we enjoy making it. So, with that out of the way, we hope to see you on our unboxing video sometime next week or the week after. And I want to say goodbye.